Hey guys, Muncheez here and welcome to another ZZZ video, and in this video I'm going to be going over anomalies, disorders, their unique debuffs, and how they kind of work with one another. And even though it seems like they're a little complicated, I'll try to make it as basic as possible without getting into the nitty-gritty. So when you apply these anomalies, they usually leave a debuff that lasts about 10 seconds, and every anomaly has its own kind of unique debuff. So fire is the only one that kind of leaves a dot, so it'll tick on them, and it's super effective against humanoids, so it kind of crowd controls like the human monsters, as well as shock, but shock does not leave a dot. So when you shock something, every time you hit the enemy that is shocked, it'll give you like a bonus shock damage for like an on-hit bonus, and this is super effective against mechs. And ether, which causes the corruption, it leaves the same thing as shock. It gives an on-hit debuff, as well as it's super effective against ethereals, where it'll CC like the ethereal like monsters. Now, both freeze and assault, for the physical and the ice, they do give burst damage up front when you proc them. Freeze, however, it gives additional crit damage, and it also freezes them in place for a set period of time, where assault gives them like an increased amount of days taken, so it'll make them much easier to stagger after you have applied assault. Anomaly applications cannot crit or build days. Disorders as well. I read that you are supposed to be able to, but I don't know if that was a mistake on their part, or if they're going to fix it, or if it's working as intended. We'll either find out or not find out in the future if it's supposed to build days or not. So the damage for the anomalies are also calculated with and without the debuff, so make sure you're buffing up your characters that are applying the anomaly debuff. Now, when you're applying your disorders, so I'm going to show in this clip here, basically when you apply your first anomaly, so as you can see, I shocked with Grace, so the second character is going to eat the first anomaly, and then you will apply the disorder, and the debuff from the second character is going to apply onto the boss. Now the boss has the physical debuff on him. Another important thing to note is when you are consuming the first anomaly, when you apply your disorder, the damage for the disorder is going to be for the people who applied that first anomaly. So if I did it with Grace, or if I did it with, say, like Grace and Rena, the damage for that disorder is going to be based off of whoever applied that first anomaly. So as you can see, my Piper is extremely weak, but the damage from the disorder is pretty high. The next thing I want to talk about is the stats for them. So when you're gearing for them, basically you are going to be not building them like your conventional DPS, so they have two stats for anomaly proficiency and anomaly mastery. So proficiency increases the amount of damage that you deal with your anomalies, and anomaly mastery increases the rate at which you apply them. And these do have diminishing returns on them, so when you get into like those really long fights, it will take longer, and that's where anomaly mastery will kind of help take that edge off. Now, the next thing I am going to be talking about are the skills. So skills on anomaly characters don't matter, and I have actually went through and tested this and leveled them up pretty decently high. I got some of them, as you can see, to even like level 7. So these don't do anything besides increase the amount of damage that that skill does, and increases the amount of days that that skill does. So none of these, on at least the characters that we have now as far as Piper and Grace go, do anything, but the core skills and the core skill enhancements and all that, these are very worth doing because they increase the rate at which your electric anomaly buildup go for characters like Grace, and Piper has a similar core passive. TLDR, anomaly proficiency and mastery are your best friends, and you can raise your damage ceiling higher with things like elemental damage, pen, or attack. Disk drives. For the main stats, you want in your 6, 5, and 4 slot, you want anomaly mastery in the 6 slot, and you want the elemental damage or pen % in the 5th slot, but the elemental damage is better for the character that you're using. So if you're Grace, you want to have all that shock damage, and 4, anomaly proficiency is the stat for that slot. Now, as far as substats go, you can go for anomaly proficiency, attack %, and pen %. All 3 of these are perfectly acceptable, and it's the same as any other DPS. You kind of want to avoid like the HP defense lines because they do absolutely nothing for you. Anywho, this was Anomalies in a nutshell. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, feel free to leave it in the comment section below. Don't forget to like and sub on the way out, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.